What's up, my Century of the Galaxy? It's Centerman here, so back again with another classic SummerSlam pay-per-view review. I know you're thinking SummerSlam happened last week in our current timeline. I know. I'm trying to review one more classic SummerSlam pay-per-view before the month is out, so today I'm reviewing SummerSlam 1996 at the Gund Arena. Right now it's called the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio on the 18th of August 1996. The attendance for the show was 17,000. This show received about 157,000 pay-per-view buys, a downgrade than the 1995 SummerSlam show. The main event of that show was Diesel versus Mabel for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, and that show received about 205,000 pay-per-view buys. Holy crap, 1995's WWF was really the drizzling shit. Anyway, the commentators for the show are Vince McMahon, Jim Ross, and Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. The reason why I want to review the show because nearly 2 years ago, I did a 3-part DVD review of The Undertaker's Deadliest Matches. During the feud with Mankind, it's part of, I reviewed their match at King of the Ring 96, and this match on the show, the Boiler Room Brawl. That's the reason I want to review this show, because the Boiler Room Brawl is one of the biggest matches on the show. I said to myself, let's review SummerSlam 96. How this whole show lives out. Is it a good show, bad show, in the middle, don't know. This show took place 1 month after the formation of the NWO in WCW. It kicked off their boom period, because you can tell that, like, in 1996 WWF, you can tell they're slowly breaking away from the cartoonist side of professional wrestling. They still have wrestlers with cheesy, bad gimmicks. You can tell they're pushing the envelope slowly. You can tell they're planting the seeds of the Attitude Era. You can tell on the show. You can tell they're planting the seeds of the Attitude Era, going into the 1990s all the way to the end of the Attitude Era, 2002. I don't give a shit. People say it's end, at WrestleMania 17. That's a load of crap of bullshit. That's just me. Anyway, so you could tell, this company in 1996 is still feeling the pressure of WCW, because the 5-shot hit with the formation of the NWO and the Outsiders. Anyway, so before we get to the start of this reviewing all the matches on the show, there's one match originally scheduled on the show. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We got Ahmed Johnson was supposed to defend the Intercontinental Championship against Farouk Assad. Farouk is Ron Simmons. Unfortunately, it was cancelled. Ahmed Johnson faked the title due to injury. Was feuding with Farouk at the time. I think he suffered some kidney problems, and that's a real problem with Ahmed Johnson. Every time the company trying to push him, he always getting hurt. And they announced they're going to do an intercontinental title tournament. Mark Merrill ended up winning that tournament, and then Triple H will won the title after him. That will be in late 96. That slowly break away. Triple H was doing it at the doghouse at the time after the events in Madison Square Garden. The curtain call incident between him, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, and Razor Ramon. The Click. Anyway, so because Ahmed Johnson was the first black Intercontinental Champion. That title took away from him. And then on this segment on the show, you had Farouk basically wants the Intercontinental title. You got Sonny. I don't know who was managing Farouk at the time. He's praising that's the man supposed to look like because he's muscular. I don't know. Farouk with that crappy gimmick. Though he'll be part of the Nation of Domination in 96, 97. But he ended up dropping that gimmick. But yeah. I think the reason why they're pushing Ahmed Johnson, because he has this Goldberg, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar presence. This fight-filled presence. He's not that great. He looks like he can beat people in the ring. But yeah, he's never that. I don't think he's that great in the ring. He does that that was the Pure River plunge. It's basically like that power bomb. But every time they pushed him, he always getting hurt. I think he suffered a leg injury. He ended up feuding with Farouk throughout 96, 97. When he was feuding with the Nation of Domination, he ended up being part of that group. broke away from that group, got injured, and he got released, and then he ended up, in WCW. It was a different ball game. They never really pushed him. That was during the feud between Stevie Ray and Booker T. Holland Heat exploded. The rights for the letter T. That's in 2000. I don't want to get into that. But in WWF, they would had plans to make him as the next top guy, putting the eggs in the Ahmed Johnson basket. Unfortunately, that not panned out. So anyway, so let's get to the matches on the show. So the first match to kick off SummerSlam '96, we got Savio Vega versus Owen Hart with Clarence Mason in Owen's corner. Owen Hart at this moment in time was part of Camp Cornette. That's Jim Cornette's faction with him, Owen, Bulldog. They had Yokozuna in that group, but they kicked him out of the group. He ended up getting released from the company. He fought Steve Austin in the dark match on the show. Shame for Austin because he's in the dark match. He just came off winning the 1996 King of the Ring tournament. Did the Austin 316 promo, and then I think he wrestled the last indie house show before SummerSlam. And then he's wrestling the dark match. He ended up fighting Bret Hart in the end of '96. Kicked off his star as not just the biggest star, not just in the WWF, but in professional wrestling. But he's in the dark match fighting Yokozuna, who was basically heading out of the company. Anyway, so let's get back to this match. Nothing much to talk about. It was an okay match. Owen was not okay, but it was a decent match to kick off the pay-per-view. Owen was wearing a cast on his arm. I'm guessing he suffered a kayfabe injury. He used the cast as a weapon in this match. He hit Savio with the cast, locking the sharpshooter for the victory. It looks like, and the referee thought Savio got passed out during the hold, but in reality he got knocked out by the cast shot by Owen. And then you got Justin Bradshaw. That's the future JBL, by the way, with Uncle Sebediah. That's Dutch Martel, aka the future Seb Coulter. I think he's complaining or something like that. I don't know. He ended up hitting Savio Vega to probably stop their rivalry. I think he fought Austin in the Caribbean strap match. I think it was at Beware the Dog. That was Austin's first feud as Stone Cold. He was kind of not quite there yet, but Savio Vega was kind of an enhancement talent because he debuted in 1995. He reached the finals of the 1995 King of the Ring tournament. I did my review on that pay-per-view last year on this channel. Go and check it out. People got sick of him, and then he's an enhancement talent. He ended up being part of the Nation of Domination, and then he formed his own group called the Los Boricuas, and he got released in 1998. So, as for Bradshaw, Justin Bradshaw, he become, part of the Acolytes. I think he ended up part of the Blackjacks, the new Blackjacks, Jesus Christ. Then the Acolytes, then he'll become JBL, future WWE champion, and the rest is history. So, anyway, enough of my rambling of the opener. Let's move on to the next match. The next match, we got a fatal 4-way tag team elimination match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. We got the Smoking Guns, that is Billy and Bart Gunn with Sonny in their corner, defending the belts against the Godwins with Hillbilly Jim in their corner. The Godwins are Henry and Phineas Godwin. Phineas is the future Bidian versus the New Rockers. That is Marty Jannetty and Leif Cassidy. Leif Cassidy is the future Al Snow. And the Body Adonis, that is Skip and Zip. Zip is Dr. Tom Pritchard. And Skip is Chris Candido. I'm going to call him Tom Pritchard and Chris Candido in this match, but it's going to get confusing. But anyway, so Sonny's now managing the Sonny used to be managing the Body Adonis, and then also she turned on that group to team up with the Smoking Guns because they're the tag team champions, and because they got a good physique. Billy Gunn has a good physique, same as Bart Gunn, but they don't really have. I think Chris Candido has an okay physique, but anyway, so that's the reason why Sonny's now part of the Smoking Guns. Used to manage the Body Adonis, and then she turned on them, managed the next tag team, the tag team champions. Anyway, let's get back to this match. The match was, I think it's one of the, I call it, it's not the worst match. It's one of the weakest matches on the show. It was very boring. It's the same format you see multi-man tag team matches of today. Not like a 6-man tag team match or 8-man tag team match. You know those tag team matches like Fatal 4-Ways, Triple Threat tag team matches you see right now. But instead it's in the elimination format. I like that better than those matches, like I said, I mentioned, in our current timeline. Anyway, the first tag team got eliminated was the Body Adonis. Who pinned them? I think it was the Smoking Guns. This was the Body Adonis' last pay-per-view appearances, because I think they got broke up, and Chris Candido got injured. They ended up getting released from the company. I think it's same as Dr. Tom Pritt. He ended up came back in the Attitude Era, but with Chris Candido, he ended up getting released from the company, wrestling in ECW. I think he wrestled in WCW, I think. Then he wrestled in TNA before his timely death. The Body Adonis has got one of the most forgettable tag teams in professional wrestling, mostly in WWF. But anyway, WWE, by the way, I'm going retro because, for the old school WWF fans, same company with different names. Anyway, so the second tag team got eliminated was the New Rockers. They were just kind of like a knockoff. It just reminds me of the original Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, because they always do that in pro wrestling. Whether a company it is, they have like a character, a wrestler with a copying like a character or a gimmick of. It just reminds me of like reminds me of similar wrestlers with successful characters. I'm trying to say, do that. Have a for instance, like someone like doing posing, muscle posing. It just reminds me of the Narcissist Lex Luger. It's just like why they come up with the New Rockers, because Alice is not on the same level as Shawn Michaels. It's just like it never lasts long because Marty Jannetty end up getting let go of the company for multiple times. Because the reason why they bring him back because he's really damn good. Anyway, so the final two is the Godwins and the Smoking Guns. In the end, the Guns retain the tag team title belts, and then you got Sunny on the mic says they're gonna be the tag team champions forever. That's the man supposed to be look like, and then he shows like a picture of herself, because Sunny at the time, she's got to be one of the most hottest women in professional wrestling in the 1990s. Hottest females in the professional wrestling business, alongside Sable, and in WCW had Miss Elizabeth and Woman, that's Nancy Sullivan, the future Nancy Benoit, and maybe sensational Sherry. Don't know about maybe Medusa. I don't want to get into that. That's a bit debatable. So the tag team division in WWF in 1996, it's just a joke. It get better in years to come into the Attitude Era, with the Hardys, Broods, Dudleys, the APA, Tess and Albert. List goes on and on and on. But it's really funny. Like in the 1996 WCW, WCW at this moment in point has like an established tag team compared to the WWF. They still got some wrestlers with cheesy gimmicks. Smoking Gun is very underrated because people talk about Billy Gunn, teaming up with Road Dogg instead of this group. The tag team, the Smoking Guns. It's just he has to do with Bart Gunn leaving. I think he left on very bad terms anyway. So it's really funny. Like the WCW had established tag team division with Harlem Heat, the Steiners, the Road Warriors. They end up joining that group. Joined the company in 1997. Why do I keep saying group? Sorry, it's a tongue twisting moment. It's fucking almost like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Jesus. Anyway, so they got established tag team compared to WWF. They got one or two transformational tag teams, but not really an established tag team until years in the Attitude Era compared to WCW. Like I said, the Steiners, Harlem Heat, the Road Warriors, Luger and Sting, and then not with Ming and Barbarian. I'm not keen on them. And then also you had the Outsiders, Hall and Nash. You could tell like WCW starting to Blue Bloods, with Lord Steven Regal, aka William Regal, the late Bobby Eaton. I don't know about Dave Taylor. He was kind of like a lackey, like a manager. I don't know, but Like, the point I'm trying to say is you can find that WCW had an established tag team compared to the WWF back in 1996. Anyway, sorry I'm repeating myself. It's just what it is, man. Trying to get my message out there. Anyway, so moving on to the next match. The next match, we've got the British Bulldog with Clarence Mason. And by the way, I forgot to talk about Clarence Mason. Clarence Mason is the future of Jay Biggs. Jay Biggs is not Jay Biggs, you see. He's not friends with Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret. He's a different Jay Biggs. He ended up be part of, Harlem Heat in WCW in 2000 during that feud between Stevie Ray and Booker T and Ahmed Johnson. The rights for the letter T. Holy shit, man. Anyway, so the match between Bulldog and Psycho Sid, it was a good match. It was a okay match, I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm stumbling. But it was an okay match. Bulldog, Jesus Christ, he picked up Psycho Sid. And by the way, Sid was getting over. They were trying Sid. Because Sid is never that great in the ring. I don't know. You got some people like Psycho Sid. It's just whatever. But you could tell like months later at the end of the year he'll be the WWF champion. You can tell like slowly building up Sid. He's been there since 93, 94. Because he came from WCW. Anyway, so yeah, Bulldog picked up Sid. Sid is 6'9", Bulldog is about 5'11", 6 foot. He hit him with a suplex. Hit him with a suplex, and hit him with a running power slam. And then you got this. The match ends with you got the arguments between Clarence Mason and Jim Cornette. And Sid kind of choke slam and powerbomb Bulldog for the victory. And also Bulldog did like a flip. It's funny that the dude's muscly and he did a backflip. It's kind of like, it's funny that I'm not gonna diss this South African bodybuilder. He did like attempt to do a backflip. He ended up breaking his neck and died. It's very tragic. But with Bulldog, he's got really good flexibility. I'm not dissing that South African bodybuilder. I'm just saying you don't see a lot of bodybuilders doing backflips or any type of athletic move. Bulldog just did that. It's kind of oppressing for me. So anyway, Sid got the victory. It's building up Sid for the world title. Match against Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series later that year. So and as for Clarence Mason, he ended up getting kicked out from Camp Cornette. He ended up being part of the Nation of Domination, the first version. I don't think he was part of the second version of the group with The Rock. He was part of the first version with Farouk, Savio Vega, D'Lo Brown, Crush, and then you're gonna end up getting released, and years later end up in WCW. So that was match number 3. It was an okay match. So match number 4, we got Mark Merrow with Sable, real life wife Sable at the time, in Mark Merrow's corner versus Goldust with Marlena. Marlena is Terry Runnels, or Terry, in Goldust's corner, because at the time they're both real husband and wife, because they end up getting divorced in later years. Anyway, and Sable's now the wife of Brock Lesnar. Anyway, and speaking of Sable, it's not focused on Goldust and Mark Merrow. This is focused on Mankind and Sable, because basically Mankind's trying to stalk in Sable. That's the build up to this, I don't think there was any build up to it. Anyway, the match between Goldust and Mark Merrow, this was good. It was a good match. Mark Merrow, holy crap, he did athletic moves, man. It's a shame that he's never got the world title in WCW and WWF, because, I don't know why he never got the world title. Maybe it's personality, I don't know. It's a shame. That dude is very athletic, great on the mic. He's got personality and charisma. It's a shame he never become the world title. World champion, I'm trying to say. Never had the world title, I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm stumbling. Jesus Christ. 2 o'clock, 2 in the afternoon, and I'm stumbling. It's just what it is. I just got a speech and language problem, man. It's very hard. I don't write scripts. I'm just saying it in the heart. Anyway, so it's a shame he never got the world title belt in his career in WCW and also in the WWF/WWE. Anyway, so I'm trying to keep it short and simple. I'm kind of rambling. So Mankind trying to didn't interfere, kind of stuck Sable, and the referee trying to pull him away. You won't see Mankind again until the Boiler Room Brawl match between him and The Undertaker. Merrow hit a springboard leg drop, and hit the shooting star press. This is like years before Billy Kidman hit that move. And like, wow, he never got that world title push because yeah, they were pushing Sable. That's like, I don't want to get into it. Another story for another time. So, he's about to pin Goldust, but instead Marlena, Terry Runnels, trying to distract the referee. Goldust hit Mark Merrow with the final cut for the victory, and afterwards Goldust kiss, snug. That's our term for kiss. Goldust snug. I'm gonna use our term snug. Sable, and Mark Merrow saves Sable, attack Goldust, really throw him out of the ring. Yeah, Mark Merrow was a babyface. He'll turn heel in '98 when he's feuded with Sable. That was in the Attitude Era. He was a babyface. Goldust was a heel, and also the fans were chanting "faggot." It's funny, like you can't say it right now because you don't say it a lot. People are was it LGBT. I don't want to get into that, but it's funny. Like they're saying it back in the 1990s, the mid 1990s. But anyway, moving on to the next match. By the way, it was a good match between Goldust and Mark Merrow. So the next match we got Jerry the King Lawler versus Jake the Snake Roberts. With Mark Henry making his WWE pay-per-view appearance or WWF pay-per-view appearance. He kind of appeared in the commentate area, commentating the Lawler Roberts match. So they kind of exploit the personal problems of Jake the Snake Roberts because at the time he had an alcohol problem, he had a drug problem. Because like I said at the start of this review, I said like WWF feeling the pressure of WCW because this was 1 month after the formation of the NWO, kicked off their boom period. You could tell they slowly pushing the envelope. You had Lawler kind of like exploit his personal problems. Yeah, in the start of this match, or before the start of this match, you had Lawler came out holding a sack full of alcohol, like bottles of Jack Daniels and a big bottle of champagne. You had Jake the Snake with the I think it was a big yellow or green snake. It was a light green snake. It was not Damien. I don't know. It's called Damien. I don't think every snake will be called Damien. That'd be very confusing. But so the match was it was just okay. I'll get to the whole stuff with Lawler and Roberts is a bit tasteless. We'll get that in a matter of seconds. But in the end, Lawler hit Roberts with a bottle of Jack Daniels in the throat for the victory, and then afterwards he kind of like pouring a bottle of Jack Daniels into the throat of Jake the Snake Roberts, and then you got Mark Henry come out of the commentary area. He's about to hit Roberts with the bottle, and Henry stopped him, came to the rescue, stopped Lawler. This is settled their match at Mind Games, the next In Your House show in September. Yeah. Reason why I say this whole story with Lawler and Roberts was very tasteless because they exploit his real life problems. He kind of cleaned up years later. DDP helped them. They did a documentary called Resurrect Jake the Snake Roberts. I haven't saw that documentary, and I heard it's good, but I think at the time that was very tasteless because WCW did it years later. 2 years later in 1998. They did the whole Last Call Scott Hall storyline because they exploit Scott Hall's personal problems. That was very tasteless. It was during the feud between him and Kevin Nash, and they exploit Rhino's problems years later in TNA. I don't like doing it. I hate these storylines, soap opera storylines, whether it's pregnant or, someone having a real life problem. It's just like, it's bad taste, I understand why they're doing that because they're feeling the pressure of WCW. They have to, push an envelope somehow, but sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes it's a bad thing. I think this was Jake the Snake Roberts' last pay-per-view appearance. He might have one more match, probably on a Raw, or maybe a In Your House show, but he ended up leaving the company in 1997. I found out on Wikipedia that WWF really offered Jake the Snake Roberts a backstage role. He didn't want him wrestling because of his age. And also, in this match, he was not really fit enough in-ring wise to compete because he was past his prime, he's out of shape. But Roberts kind of declined, and yeah, his personal problems kind of like Kassoon really hurt his second run in the company. And also to bring the Ultimate Warrior back in the company because they're feeling the heat of WCW because they fired Razor Ramon, Diesel, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, they went to WCW from the Outsiders and also from the NWO. They're trying to like bring in these bigger stars from the past. It's kind of failed, but he came back years later. He came back in 2005. He confronted Randy Orton during his feud with The Undertaker. He came back in 2013, 2014. Saving CM Punk for the Shield, getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, and right now he's in AEW managing Lance Archer. So match number 6, we got the Boiler Room Brawl. That's the reason why I'm doing this review. We got The Undertaker versus Mankind in that match. So their rivalry starts in April because Mankind debuted in the WWF. The Raw after WrestleMania 12 attacked The Undertaker. He attacked him multiple times, like pulling through the hole in the canvas. Taker did the same thing. He attacked The Undertaker inside a casket. The fight backstage, interfering in Undertaker's matches. They end up fighting. They had a match at King of the Ring 96. Mankind won the first match after Paul Bearer hit hit The Undertaker in the head with the urn. So the rules of this match, basically you have to get out of the ballroom and really receive the urn from Paul Bearer. So this match was a bit boring, but I think it was a good match. Really good match. Crazy bumps, like one crazy bump. You had Mankind kind of climb onto the tallest ladder. Taker throwed him off, and he kind of crashed into the skip. And also, I think he sprayed Undertaker with the pipe. There was a steam pipe. He kind of sprayed Undertaker in the face with it. And also, Mankind kind of poured, like, hot tub of coffee onto the Undertaker. You can tell they getting edgy. They have to, like, up the ante. And then Mankind took that biggest bump, and sickest bump. They were fighting on the ring apron. And basically, Taker kind of shake Mankind off the ring apron. It kind of splattered onto the explode. Really, and before that, you had Mankind power drive Undertaker into the exposed concrete, and then Mankind like falling back first onto that exposed floor. That was sick. Mankind's like, you can tell there's a reason why they got Mankind. They got to push the envelopes. He enjoys the pain. Mankind's not like a character you never seen before. Because I heard like they did a documentary of Mick Foley in 2013 that the original plans for Mankind is Cassius Jack being Mankind. That's planting the seeds of the genesis of the Three Faces of Foley storyline in 1997. So they thought that Undertaker would win. He like gone down on one knee before he's gonna grab the urn, win this match. The Hilton of Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer kind of like did not refuse to give Undertaker the urn, and you got Mankind basically hit Undertaker with the mandible claw. That's Mankind's really the one move stand out for Mankind. Mick Foley is the double arm DDT and the mandible claw. And yeah, Paul Bearer attacked the Undertaker. Kicked him, hit him with the urn. Mankind grabs the urn for the victory. This has set up a long year rivalry throughout into the start of the Attitude Era between Undertaker, Paul Bearer, and Mankind. And then Mankind's theme music, it starts out with the evil music, and then when he wins a match, it ends with the Lovable Hearts sound. It's just what it is. They end up dropping that in years later, and then afterwards you got the Druids came out, and basically take the Undertaker out of the ring. Yeah, the rivalry continued for the next 3 years. The fight at the first Burial Alive match at Burial Alive in October of '96. They fight at Survivor Series. They fight at Revenge of the Taker in 1997. And the fight in that infamous Hell in a Cell match at King of the Ring 1998 that made Mick Foley very, very famous when he took that bump from Hell in the Cell, chokeslam through the cell wall. I think I said it in that third part DVD review of Undertaker's Deadliest Matches. I think this rivalry with The Undertaker kind of put Mick Foley's career on the map. Hear me out. Because, yeah, he wrestled in ECW and WCW, but yeah, he fought Sting for the WCW World title, he fought with Vader, a former WCW World Champion, but at the same time, Mankind, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley was not really kind of like an established star in those companies. I think they're trying to push him, but he always getting hurt. WCW never see him as going to be the next top star. He's not like Austin, because Austin's really he's better worker than Foley, but he was never like an established star. Like in ECW, he's feud with Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer, future and former ECW champions. But he's never like going to be that star. When he go to the WWF, he become a big star. Going to be a big star. Feuding with an established veteran like The Undertaker, and I think this match kind of earned his stripes. People talk about his match with Taker at King Ring '98. That's kind of debatable. I think this match he kind of earned his stripes with the company and set up becoming a household name in the WWF/WWE in years to come. To this feud with The Undertaker in '96, to all the way defeating The Rock in 1999, the first Raw of 1999. It takes time, they're trying to push him. You end up facing Shawn Michaels for the world title the following month at Mind Games, but you can tell they slowly build him up carefully, some stumbling, trying to push him very slowly. It's what glimpses what things to come, and also it set up really a 2-year rivalry, not just with Mankind, with Paul Bearer. And in 1997, they ended up doing this storyline where Paul Bearer explored the truth about Undertaker setting fire of his the funeral home, killed his parents, and they introduced Kane. Start their rivalry. It's really set up good storylines. This rivalry it set up good storylines for the next year or two. So moving on to the main event. We got Shawn Michaels defending the World Wrestling Federation Championship against Vader with Jim Cornette in his corner. Match was good. It's size over speed. Shawn did like the Hurricanrana. He did like that dive off the top rope. Vader, like the first match ending in a count out. Basically, I had Vader gorilla press Shawn Michaels into the ring barricade. Then it was a count out finish. So I thought it's gonna be SummerSlam '93 all over again between Yokozuna and Lex Luger. Unfortunately, Jim Cornette he's on the mic, says, we didn't came here to win this match that way. Restart the match. Call Shawn Michaels a coward. You call him gutless first, and then the match restarted. Then I think Shawn Michaels got himself disqualified. Hit both Jim Cornette and Vader with the tennis racket. You got, was it Jose Lavario for that Shawn Michaels manager. Let's talk about the backstory. Shawn Michaels won the world title at WrestleMania 12 against Bret Hart in the 1-hour Iron Man match, and then Bret left until Survivor Series '96. Shawn held the belt for about 6 months. He won it in March, April, May, June, July, August. So 6 months, half a year so far. So that's a bit of the backstory why Shawn is the world title going into SummerSlam, world champion going into SummerSlam '96. Sorry, I'm stumbling, but yeah, and then some parts of the match you had Lavario confronting Vader. Cornette hit Shawn Michaels with the racket. That's the reason why he's got himself disqualified. Hit both Vader and Cornette with the racket. And Jim Cornette is once again saying restart the match. You're a gutless coward. You got yourself disqualified. You cannot beat Vader. So the match restarted for the second time. Shawn hit the diving elbow, the switching music. Vader kicked out of the switching music attempt by Shawn Michaels. Vader trying to hit the Vader bomb. I think he was going for the Vader bomb, but Cornette asked him to hit him like just a normal moonsault. Vader kind of botched the moonsault, or misfired the moonsault attempt. Michaels got out of the way, hits Vader with a crossbody for the victory, and Shawn Michaels retained the World Wrestling Federation Championship. It's just that Vader never won the world title. It's the same as Luger in my previous review of SummerSlam '93. Both established WCW talent, the former WCW World Champions. And by the time they go to the World Wrestling Federation, they never won a single title. Luger won the 1994 Royal Rumble match with Bret Hart, but they never won a single title in the WWF. I don't think Vader did. I don't think he won a title in his time in the World Wrestling Federation. He's never a world champion. He's never a mid card champion. He's never a tag team champion, in my knowledge. But yeah, it's funny that the established stars in WCW by the time in the WWF, they really missed the boat. Yeah, Vader ended up facing The Undertaker for the world title in 1997. I think they fought at, was it Spring Stampede 97, during Taker's feud with Paul Bearer. But it's a shame. It has to do with timing or behavioral problems. If he debuts in 95, great example, if it is my fantasy booking, instead of Mabel winning that 1995 King of the Ring tournament, if it was Vader winning that title, I think, winning the King of the Ring tournament and went on to face Diesel at SummerSlam that year, I think that it was a great time, him pulling a world title reign for Vader. He can have a great run with it. I wish he won that title. It's very funny that Michaels ended up dropping that belt at Survivor Series against Sid, another good match, but Sid as the world champion was a bad idea. Great example, his match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 13 the following year in 1997. Shawn Michaels' reign as the World Wrestling Federation champion, very underrated. The reason why they took the belt off him because he's not a draw. That's a load of crock of shit. The plans they're doing the WrestleMania 12 rematch at WrestleMania 13. Unfortunately, Shawn backed out. That's another story for another time. Anyway, sorry about my stumbling, but it's just what it is. So my final rating for SummerSlam 1996. I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10. Back and forth between 7 or 6. I think 7.5 out of 10 is a right, appropriate rating for the show. Yes, I'm good, but it's not so bad. The only thing in the bad has to be, they're not bad. I don't really play in the okay. It's not really worth it to play in the okay. They were not terrible matches. They were kind of like mediocre matches, like the Fatal 4-Way Elimination Tag Team match for the tag team titles and Lawler versus Roberts. Like I said, the whole storyline exploring Jake the Snake Roberts' personal life, personal problems. They were kind of like whatever. The only thing in the okay has to be Bulldog versus Sid. That was an okay match. Bulldog carries Sid to an okay match. A lot of good in the match in that has to be Shawn Michaels versus Vader. Mankind Taker Bowling Brawl match was a second place. It was still a good match. And I don't really call them hidden gems. That's just me. You got Savio Vega versus Owen Hart, Goldust versus Mark Merrow. They were fun, enjoyable matches to watch. So anyway, so I hope you enjoyed my review of SummerSlam 1996. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube, be part of the Central Unit today, or you miss out the fun for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, SummerSlam season is now officially over. By the time the next review is out, we'll be in the first week of September. Months ago, I reviewed Royal Rumble 1988. That was the first Rumble. Technically, it's not a pay-per-view. It was a special event on the USA Network. I want to review a house show in the United Kingdom because WWE, in our current timeline, it's the return of Crown Jewel. They're doing that crappy house shows in Saudi Arabia. Let's do a house show review in the UK for the WWF/WWE. There's one show I want to talk about. It's one of the most forgettable UK shows for the WWF in that time period. Not really talked about to this day. We're going to 1997. I want to review one show I want to talk about. I'm talking about WWF One Night Only 1997. We got Bret versus The Undertaker, their match at rematch from SummerSlam 97, and Shawn versus Bulldog for the European title.